Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to JJ's PC Builds. You know it is JJ right here with you once again. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you for all that you do, helping support the channel, watching videos from beginning to end. And it's much appreciated. And also, too, letting your friends know to come on down here and subscribe. Okay, today we're going to do something a little bit different. I know I said on the live video yesterday, and I hope y'all watched it because it was okay. But remember, we're still fine-tuning the live video stream. So if it doesn't seem exciting now, give it some time and let us get it all fine-tuned and everything else. And by the time we get done, you'll enjoy it. Trust me. But today, what we're going to be doing to let you know is we're going to have a PC part picker day. Yeah. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look around for some PC parts that make some sense if you're deciding to build a computer in the future. Now, the way I look at it is we can go DDR4, we can go DDR5 series. The most things that people have asked me was they said to me, hey, Jay, when are you going to do some DDR5 series picking parts? And I said, you know what? I'm going to make today, Sunday, the day we do that. So our focus is going to be on picking the best parts we can for DDR5. So stick around with me and let's go ahead and go to the action screen. There we go. We're at the action screen. I had to clean it up a little bit before I showed you all it because, it kind of was a little bit messy. So, but we are on DuckDuckGo. We're going to type in PC part picker. Part picker. Okay, and then we're going to find PC part picker right here. Then we're going to click on it. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to look for it to say builder. Click on that. And then we got a clean slate right here. Now, I noticed with PC part picker, they say compatibility, no issues or compatibilities found. And it gives you estimated wattage. This is really interesting because, to have that on here, this would make this a better place for you to build and to pick your parts because they have all the newest prices and they have everything you can think of. So they got a great site. Make sure if you do go to PC part pickers, tell them that JJ's PC Build sent you. In your comments, of course. So I always start with the motherboard because that's the heart of the system. And if you're going to go by price, then you might as well go over here to the corner and click it up and get that arrow going upwards. So now you go from the lowest to the highest price. Now, if you're going to do DDR5, then you go to the other side. And if you're going to do AM5 or LG 1700, that's all up to you. If you're deciding you want to do the 14900K, the AMD side, you would take and click on the LG 1700. And then it gives you all the LG 1700 motherboards. But if you're deciding you don't want to do that, then you can click on the AM5 and you can get all the AM5 motherboards. So it gives you from the lowest to the highest prices so you can see what you're doing. Okay, now with that compatibility checker, See, it says there's 153 compatibility products. Okay, so knowing that, and we go over here and we go over and check this, and it says there's 532 compatibility products. That kind of makes me think that an Intel build would be a really good build, because to have that many compatibility products, that's kind of great. And also, too, make sure you got your drink and snacks with you. We're going to have a little longer video than usual, but we're going to do this. Great way to wake up in the day. Okay, so now what we're going to be doing is we want to look for, we're doing the 1700. Now we want to go over here to the memory type, and we want to do DDR5. Okay, because we're not doing DDR4 today. We're doing DDR5. So now it narrows the boards down a little bit more and lets you know what you can do and not do. Okay, manufacturer, you want to leave it on all because you want to get, everything they got to offer, all of them. Ratings, you can determine if you want to do the ratings too, if you want to do 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, or unrated. But that's up to you if you want to do that. Me, I just leave it on all. Okay, the socket type, I click the 1700. The form factor, if you have a hard time and let's say you get a case that's like a MATX case, then you can click on the micro ATX, and now it gives you all the motherboards that are for micro ATX. Or if you want to do ATX, then you can do the ATX right there, and it gives you all ATX. So if you want to be specific in what you want for your computer, for your case, always look at what kind of case you're going to be getting too. If it's compatible with ATX, MATX, ITX, or EATX, I would get a case that's compatible with all of them. All the way from EATX all the way down. So this way you have an option for an EATX motherboard all the way down to an ITX motherboard. And a big enough case that should handle, your graphics card. But that's later on in the video. We'll get to that soon enough. Okay, so let's just say I'm going to pick a case that's going to be for EATX, but I'm going to just pick an ATX motherboard. Now, the difference between an MATX and ATX motherboard is that you got more functionality with an ATX than you do an MATX. The slot wise, when it comes to the PCIe slots, you get more PCIe slots with an ATX than you do an MATX, because they're limited on an MATX and an ITX. So if you go with an ATX motherboard, you get the best benefits of it all. But if you're looking to go big or go home, then go EATX when it comes to your motherboard. Okay. Usually your EATX motherboards usually got great VRMs and everything else, and so do the ATX motherboards. Now, you really got to do your homework when it comes to the motherboards, especially if you're going to be using this for a 14900K. Your VRMs are really important when it comes to the amount that you have in there. If it's like a 12 phase or a 14 phase or a 16 phase or so on. I always put a rule of thumb. Anything that's above a 12 phase VRM is always going to be the best way to go. Anything that's above 12 phases is always the best way to go. So that's just the way I pick things. Okay, so we know that, and now you can choose whatever type motherboard you want. Let's say if you want to go you want to go B650. So you click on B650 here, and what you get is, wow, they don't have anything for B650. That's surprising. So click on all. You're best off to just stick with the all. Me, I would just tell you, just best off to stick with the all. The ones with the stars, the ones that have zeros right here, that means they're not in stock. So if you're looking for a motherboard, you got a Z690, you got a B760. I would say the B750 and the B7. I would say B750 or B790 if they got a B750, which they probably don't. They probably replaced it with the B760, if I remember right. So, but now I'm going to kind of go back a little bit. B750 would be more or less like on an AMD side. We're on Intel side. It's been a while since I've been on the Intel side, so do bear with me. I always try to stay in between the Z790s and the Z690s. That's what I'm going to say. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for a nice inexpensive Z790 motherboard, let's say. Now, looking at this one right here for $179, that doesn't look too bad. But if you want to go big or go home, you're looking at, if you want to get like the ROG Maximus Z690, it's going to be $1,000. Or the Z790 Hero EVA, it's going to be $878. Now, if you use your head and you just want something that's going to get you where you need to go, you could, if you want to do creator work, they do got creator boards if they're in stock. Okay. They got a Z790 Hero for $544. Okay. If you want an MSI 790 Carbon Wi-Fi, $440. The ROG Strix Z790F Gaming Wi-Fi 2, that's not bad for a $429. Well, but you tell yourself, I really don't want to spend that much on a motherboard. I want to keep it a little bit inexpensive and stuff like that. Well, the Asus TUF Gaming Z690 right here for $157. Okay, we're going to add that. Okay, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I did checked on the reviews on the Z690 Plus Wi-Fi ATX, and a lot of people are recommending it. That's the reason why it's got 5 stars, is because it's the least inexpensive board. Because the other boards, are pretty much, they're out of stock and you can't get your hands on them, the lower priced ones. So this is be about the best inexpensive one that you get. Now let's go to the CPU. Now, do look what this says at the top. Estimated wattage, 70 watts. Compatibility notes, see below. Okay. Now, this gives you a compatibility chart of basically what you can do. If that's what, if that's what you're looking for, within a price range, I think it's a pretty good thing that they got going on here. PC Part Picker has a little bit more stuff, so you might have to look through it. Next will be the CPU. Choose a CPU. Okay, now, PC Part Picker is only going to pick Intel because you got an Intel motherboard. So now we can go from the lowest to the highest. And the compatibility they're only going to give you the compatibility that goes with that motherboard. Okay, but they give you an option. I mean, you can go, let's say you want to do a 14900K or the KF. I see that they don't have the K in stock. You know, I don't see they have the K or the KF in stock. They got the KS in stock. Well, that's because it's $712. I'm sure you're not going to spend that. Let's say, you know, that's not a price you want to be at. You know, you want to go down to like a 13900K, but you see that the 14900K is $592. Let's say, just for giggles, that they got the K in stock. So we add that to the list. Okay. Now, let's see why it's not compatible. Okay. Probably for the simple fact of that the motherboard or the processor's out of stock. That could be the reason why it's an incompatibility. But they're both 1700s. I don't see why it would. This says, now we're going to read this. This says, warning, Asus TUF Z690 Plus motherboard supports the Intel Core i9 14900K, which we got that. Okay. With the BIOS version 2602. If the motherboard is using an older BIOS version, updating the BIOS will be necessary to support the CPU. Okay. Okay. Does not include a cooler, and you need to add a CPU cooler. We know this. We're not there yet. So that warning's not going to be worried about. Some physical dimension constraints are currently not checked, such as, you know, RAM clearances and stuff like that. And we know that. Okay, we know that. Okay, so we know all about this. Okay, now let's go to the CPU cooler. Okay, now if you're deciding you want to just do an AIO cooler, then we'll go by price wise. Okay, we'll go by price wise. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for CPU sockets. Narrow it down. Let's see, we want to do a 360 on this. And we don't want it fanless. So now we have all our pickings. So now we can get a 360 cooler. You know, if you want to get, you know, you can the way you pick your coolers is not by the cooler itself. Sometimes it can be by the fans, you know, but depending on what your case looks like, you know, this one right here for $59, the Thermalright could be a good one, or you can go up a couple more bucks and you can go to the Liquid Max or the P360, you know. Let's see, which one would be better? Below $100. Below $100. Okay. Well, what we can do is we can we can say, okay, we can say this one right here. Let's say that for $71.99. Okay, looking down here, the only thing that's saying right now is that you might have to update the BIOS on your motherboard. Might. And just with those three pieces, you're looking at $822. And we're still not done yet. We still got to pick the memory. Let's pick the memory. Let's go by price. Me, myself, I like Corsair better. So basically, I like Corsair better. So you got 16, you got 32, that's 2 by 16, or you want to do you want to do a 1 by 32. You know, you can also do 64 gigs of RAM. I mean, if you want to do the 6000 series, let's go ahead and just do this. Let's just pick 1 by 32. Okay. 1 by 32. But that don't give you no RGB. Okay, so or you can do 4 by 48. But that's $600, and you don't want to spend that kind of money on, RAM. Okay, so let's say you do a 2 by 32, and you do all 4 channels. Okay, so, but you don't need an RGB on it neither. But you want to do a 6000 series. Okay, so that might be good. But also, too, what we're going to do is we're going to check out the competitors. Okay, now there might be a competitor that might have better than what the Corsair is going to have. Just for say. I mean, they got this one right here, because you want to stay within a certain price range. But you want to keep the system memory sticks. You want to keep them black. Let's just say you want to keep them black. And you're still trying to figure out which ones you want. If you want RGB, if you don't want RGB, from what I'm looking for, even with RGB or no RGB, they're still going to be at the same price. As if you look at this $174.99, they got the ones without the RGB and they got the ones with RGB. So that makes me think, what would be better? What would be better? Am I going by performance or am I going by aesthetics? Am I paying for the aesthetics or am I paying for performance? You want to pay for the performance more than the aesthetics. And that's just to be honest with you. I mean, if they're all black, it's not really going to matter because you got an all black system. And your fans are probably going to be the only ones with RGB. So, just go with it. All black system. And, your fans will do the lighting up inside your case. So you don't need anything else. So be conservative. but also to be aware of what would be best for your system RAM. I don't think red would go good. That still brings me down to here, this Corsair. They got 232s for $174.99. Okay. I don't want RGB. Add additional memory, and make sure before you go to add, make sure you get the same ones. See, now I got to go backwards again because I got the wrong ones. So now we got to go back into the memory and choose the right ones. So DDR5, we'll leave all the sticks there. Black, we'll leave all that on. We will leave all that on. See if there's anything else I want to adjust. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and go down the list. See, 1x32 for $79.99. Team group, that's 5,200, but we want 6,000. But we don't want the... Takes a little bit of shopping, people, so bear with me. It takes a little bit of shopping. I mean, they got the 64 here. 6,400 for $100 for 32. All right. Well, but that's only 32. But if you're looking for more RAM, okay, then you would go to 32 gig sticks. Let's say you're just looking for 64. Okay, we'll go on that. We'll go on to the 16 gig sticks. But to me, it really doesn't make sense to do the 16 gigs when you should go up to the 32 gigs and do 2 32 gigs, and then you can add 2 later. So basically, I would do a 1x32. I would do a 1x32. But always look at what speed they're at. Let's see, show more. Let's just cut the chase. 1x32. Okay, now we got a list of 1x32s. Okay. So now you can look at the speed and determine which ones you want by the speed. Okay. Let's say these are on the list. These 6400s. Okay. Okay, so you add one more. It's no price available, but do add on $200 just for the RAM for 64 gigs. So you add on $200 for that. So that'll make the case at about 1,000 so far. Choosing storage. Okay. Yes, sometimes I get a little long-winded when it comes to this, and I take my time. Y'all are coming along with me as I take my time, so don't go anywhere. I've got my conclusions coming to the end of building this PC. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go by price. We're going to go by SSD. Yeah, we'll go by SSD. We'll do M.2 2280. We'll do 4.0 X4. And NVMe, yes. Okay, so now we got it narrowed down to 250 gigabytes, 500, 1 terabyte, Crucial P3. In my computer, I got the Crucial P2, the 3.0 X4, but it works really great in my PC. It gives me great performance. So the P3 is only 44. So you get 1 terabyte. Okay. Let's say you're just looking for 1 terabyte. Okay. So we add that on. The reason why I'm saying this is because it's got a program. It's got an executive program in there that controls the cache for that drive. So basically you can upscale the cache for that M.2 drive through their programming. So they do definitely got a good programming in there. And, it's Crucial Executive Suite, if I remember right. So that's the reason why I'm picking it, is because I got that Crucial, I got that suite in my PC. So that's something I would pick, the 4.0 X4. And also, too, make sure your motherboard has a spot for an M.2 drive, the 2280. If it doesn't, and you get an M.2 drive, then you're stuck with the motherboard without an M.2 drive. But usually when it comes to the 690s, they're going to have an M.2 drive. But if you want to make sure that, and you picked what you had to pick, right here, the Z690, you kind of want to do your homework. Now, looking at the motherboard itself, look, it's got good VRM coverage. Okay. It's got an M.2 PCIe 4.0 slots. I bet you there's 2 under there. It's got 2 X16s. Okay, this is what the Z690 looks like. It's got four system RAM slots. So the 2 gray ones are going to be your A2 and B2. Those will be the ones that you use to populate with the 2 drives. Okay, and then you got your socket here. And also, too, you got the M.2 PCIe 4.0 here. I would recommend you not using that, because if you use that, it could take away PCIe X8 slot from the PCIe X16. So the ones used for your graphics card would only get like X8 lanes compared to getting the X16. So that's the reason why I say I would put it down here, is so that way this not populated, it's not going to interfere with your graphics card. That's what I did with the B550 motherboard. Worked out great. I mean, yes, I don't have my 4.0 slot populated, but I do got my 3.0 slot populated. But it still runs great, either way you look at it. And it looks like it's got all the headers that you would need for your RGB, extra SATA slots for, hard disk drives or SSD drives, whatever you want to put in there. Definitely got some good fan coverage. It looks like it's a really good motherboard. It looks like the onboard sound looks like a good one. Tough gaming. So now that we had a look at the motherboard and know that this is going to work with it, so we'll just roll with this. Okay. Now let's say you don't have a case. Let's say you choose a case and go by the price, and we'll say that it's going to be an ATX desktop, right? That narrows it down a little bit. Power supply, we'll leave that as all right now. You can also narrow your motherboard down if you got Type C or you got Type A's. Always look at that too. If you got Type C on your motherboard, okay, if you got Type C on your motherboard, go backwards and look at your motherboard again. Also, too, you can also do this. Take a copy of this, go around, go to paste. You paste it and you hit specs. Okay, so if you want to see what it's like, let's see what, accept cookies. It's got Wi-Fi 6E. It's got DDR5 memory, 4 M.2 slots, PCIe 5.0. It's got a 15-phase Dr. Moss power stages for the VRM. It's ATX gaming. It's got a 2.5 gigabyte Ethernet HDMI display port, USB 3.2 Gen 2X2, Type C. It does got Type C on there. So you know how to pick your cases. It's got front USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C. It's got SATA 6 gigabytes per second, Thunderbolt 4 headers, Aurora Sync. And that gives you your whole list of what you got. So it's Windows 11 ready. That's another motherboard. This is the 690 we're dealing with. Okay, so knowing all that, now you know how to pick your case. Now you know how to pick your case. Let's go backwards. Okay, now we can go choose a case. Now let's see what we can do. We want an ATX desktop. Okay, now we'll leave that as all. So we got to at least have one Type C, which right here it says 2X2 Type C. So we got to look at 2X2 Type C. Right there. That narrows it down to nada. That might be where you got to do a little bit of soul searching for it. So obviously there's no cases that they have with USB panels like that. But we can also take a look too to see if we can find one like that. We can go EATX, or we can do all cases, which I think that would probably be better to do all cases. But Corsair 4000D doesn't seem like a bad case. So if that's what you're looking for, let's go into the details. Okay, so it's got a Gen 2 Type C. It's not a 2X2 Type C, but it's got a Type C2. Okay, so that's not really going to work for us. Okay, so we can do the Lian 011. It's got a Gen 2 Type C. It's ATX. It's all the above. I just don't like the airflow on the Lian somewhat. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just being picky. Or basically, maybe I'm just being too picky. Yeah. This is where you take your time and decide. Don't rush anything, because there might be a case you find that you rushed into one case and then you said to yourself, "Oh my God, now I see this one," and let's see what the 7000D looks like. Wow. It's got everything you need. Video card length, 450 millimeters. At least you got a good dimension. Okay. So let's say we get the 7000D. You don't get to spend much. You work hard all year. Why not? Then we go to the power supplies. Okay, let's say we want to deal with a 1,000-watt power supply. There we go, from 1,000 to 1,200 watts. Pull the price back up. Okay, so you got an 80 plus gold right here, a Piva Prestige for, let's say you get it for $74.99. I would imagine I would go a little bit either to the Be Quiet or the Deep Cool. Or you can go to the RM1000X, which I got the RM1000E for a 1,000-watt power supply. So you can do anything you want, especially if you want to keep the price down a little bit. Let's say you just go to you want to do the Prestige. I'm not sure if it's going to be the right one for you. It might not be. But I can tell you the ones that are using the 4090, the connectors for the 4090, the RTX 4090, it would be best to go with the 1000E. And yes, it's $159, but it's well worth it. Trust me. So I am going to recommend that. It's 80 plus gold right here. I'm going to recommend the same one that I got. Gold certified and fully modular ATX power supply, and which it is. And it'll handle the RTX 4090, and it's got the modular plug also too for that power supply with that. So that is a good thing. So operating system, everybody knows you can go to Windows. It doesn't cost. You know, if you don't want to pay for the product subscription to it, that's up to you if you do or you don't. But you can also too go to you know, like VIP CD keys and get yourself a product key for Windows 10 or Windows 11. That's up to you. Okay. You do remember you can still go from Windows 10 Pro up to Windows 11 Pro, you know, by getting a Windows 10 Pro key and then upgrading to Windows 11. It'll automatically set in the product key, your new product key for Windows 11. So your Windows 10 will carry over to your Windows 11. They're still doing that. Now, for how long they're going to do that, who knows? So, but you might want to jump on it. If you haven't, I would jump on it. Expansion cards, we're not going to worry about. Apparels, let's say you already got a keyboard and mouse and you already got your monitor, you know, and you got a 1440p monitor, you know. Let's say you got it all. Okay, so that price you'll look at is $1,272.23 for this system. Will it work? Yes. Is it the one you want? No. Because you forgot one thing. What are you going to do for a graphics card? We forgot the good old graphics card right here. So, is it going to be $1,200? No. Are you going to want to choose something that's really great? Probably. What are you going to choose? That's going to be the question. I always looked at from the 6800 XT and up is good. Anything from the RTX 4070 and up is good. You know, if you want to stay in the newer generation, I would stay that way. Either the 7000 series for AMD or from the 6800 and up from AMD, or the RTX 40 series and up, or from the 30 series would be from the 3070 up would be your best bet. That would be my pick of choices. Give yourself that wide range. So if you're like an AMD, okay, then get the new 7800 XT. That right there will keep in between the 4070 and the 4070 Ti. My opinion. And if you're liking NVIDIA, then get yourself in between the 4070 and the 4070 Ti. Me, I would stay at the 4070, but I would wait to see if NVIDIA is going to bring out the Super Series or not. And if you're in a hurry to get a graphics card, then, you know, start your way from the 4070 up if that's what you're looking for. Look at the reviews and everything else on the 4070, or if you just want to go balls to the wall and you want to go a 4090, then that's up to you. Or you want to go a 7900 XTX, that's up to you. Okay, go by what you can afford. Okay, now do remember, going backwards just a little bit, the price is $1,272. And that's including the PSU. Now, if your graphics card costs more than your system, that's not good, because basically now you're paying for double a month. Well, it's good, but you got to go by what you can afford. Let's say you got a $2,500 budget. Okay, so you got 13 more, or let's say $1,200 more to spend. Okay, let's just start with the $2,500 budget. Okay, go to your graphics card and let's go from there. And yes, this is not going to be too much longer, but we're going to get through the graphics card. Then I'm going to get through my thoughts about this system, if it's going to work or not. We'll just go from there. Okay, now the chipsets. Let's say you want to poke at the GeForce, or let's say you want the 4090, which I would say that would be a good choice. Let's say, you want to you go to lowest to highest prices. Okay, so now you see what the prices are. So you can go and get this one right here. This is the cheapest one they got on the market right now. $1,669. The cheapest one they have on the market right now. So PNY is not too bad. PNY is not too bad at all. If you're wanting to stay on the cheap, then that would be the best way to go. Let's say you just want to be on the cheap. Okay, but that now blows your budget by $400. So now you got to go back to your graphics card and say, okay, well, that blows my budget. So now I'm going to have to pick out a different graphics card. So let's go back and see what we can find. Move this down to let's say 1,200. Okay, now you get to look and see what you can find. Okay, now that goes from $589 to $1,200. So for $589, they got a 4070. Let's do this. Let's just say it's $450. Okay, let's say it's $450. Let's move the budget down a little bit more and see what we can find. Okay, so 7700 XT. Nah, we don't want that. They got a 6800. Let's say you're really particular on what you want to buy. Let's say you want the 7800 XT. 7800 XT is a $500 card. Say, let's get that right there. Okay, now look at your budget. Below $2,500, and that's what you want. So you put the 2,500 and you minus that from the 1,772.22. You still got $700 worth of budget that you didn't put out there. So let's say you're happy with the system the way it is. Now, since you got a $700 left budget, now let's say you want to do additional graphics cards. Let's say you want to do the 32 team group, 1 by 30, 1 by 32. You add that on, add additional memory, and you add that on. So now you have 128 you have 128 gigs of system memory. Let's just say you get 128. 64, you got 128. So now, additional storage, since if you go back here, this says right here, you got 4 M.2 slots. Okay, now you got 4 M.2 slots. Now you can go additional storage. Let's say you just want to pick up 3 more of these. Estimated wattage. Let's see what it says. 17 support. Okay, well, note the USB 2.0 to USB 3.0 adapter is required. Okay, so we need an adapter. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. That's not where we're dealing with our stuff right now. Add additional 3. Add additional storage. So now you got 4 terabytes of storage. Now you got less than $500 to play with. Okay. So let's see. Let's see if we can find this. Now we're going to look on Amazon. Okay, and then we'll paste this right here. So it looks like they do got the adapter. For $7.30. Or if you want to do, no, we don't want to do that. Let's say we get this one right here for $7.30. We'll add the adapter in. Okay, so that's what they're asking for. Okay, we don't need none of that right there. Got the case. Let's say you don't like the fans. Let's say you don't like the fans for the case. Let's go to case fans. Let's go to lowest to the highest. And we want, let's say they're 120 millimeter fans. So you want them in black. So you want 6-pack fans. So that's pretty much, there you go. Right here. So you got your fans. Right there. For $43. Not too bad. Should come with the fan controller. You do got to look and make sure it comes with the fan controller as well. Do be aware of that. So, but there's your whole system. not even at $2,000. And it's all up to date with all the newest hardware that's out there. Most of this you can get off of Amazon, as you can see. And there you go. Okay. So now, this is going to be my conclusion. I did it again. There we go. All right, my conclusion. Let's talk a little bit. Okay. My conclusion is this. You got the newest platform that's out there. Some parts are less expensive, some are more expensive, but in total expense, you got a computer less than $2,000 for what you want for like creator work and stuff like that. Okay. You got everything that you need. You got the best processor you can find out there. One of the best processors. You got one of the best motherboards that's out there. You got the best RAM that's going out there. Well, not the best, because there's 8,000, mega transfers RAM out there. But the RAM that you got was 6,400. I think will run the motherboard just well at its max. Okay. You got the best overclocking motherboard that you can get with your processor and so on. And also, too, you got a AIO 360 millimeter water cooling solution for your processor to keep the heat down on your processor so you can avoid a lot of thermal throttling and everything else. But if you decide you want to undervolt your processor, then that will eliminate a lot of that heating process, and still you won't lose performance, but you're undervolting and it'll keep your performance up there, but you won't thermal throttle. And that's what you don't want to do. You don't want your CPU thermal throttling every 5 seconds that you're playing the game, because with that, then you're degrading the processor itself, and then you get less years out of it by doing it the right way, and keeping the heat down off of the processor, but still hitting the top clocks. That's going to be the trick. Can you undervolt the processor and still hit 6 gigahertz at the same time? I don't see that. I don't see people doing that much, to see if they hit 6 gigahertz undervolting the processor. That is going to be the great question, and if they can do it. I know I could do it. If I put something like that together, I know I could do it. That won't be hard for me, because I have to take y'all along with me. It's still not going to be hard, because now that I got the capture card, I can just take and plug in a new system and take you through the BIOS, and then we can go through A to Z, and you can see right directly on screen what I'm doing. Instead of a camera looking at this screen, you see the screen right here. You see that screen right there? Instead of a camera pointed at a screen, I have you digitally connected to the computer now. And that's the great thing about it. But anyway, this video is getting way too long, and I know y'all are probably going to say, oh my God, is this the ending? It is. So, but that's my conclusion of it. And if you build something like that, you'll probably build yourself the greatest PC in the world, because that's something I would build for myself. And if it's something that I would build for myself, it definitely would be something that you would build for yourself, and it would be the greatest thing in the world. So, but also to test, make change, write down what you're doing. First test, do it stock. That means out of the box. Then test again. Overvolting, undervolting. Do not overvolt. Run it at normal. See what the normal everything runs at, the voltage to your processor and everything else. And then think about undervolting. How far you can undervolt that processor without it crashing. That's the thing. So do keep that in mind if you do it. Always remember one thing. If you're going to undervolt to keep the temperature down, then that's the great thing. That's what I do with my processors. I undervolt them and I run them daily undervolted. I mean, it's 24/7. I run them to where they're not running much power. They're actually, everybody think, oh, you lose performance. Actually you don't. If you undervolt correctly, and understand this, if you undervolt correctly, you won't lose performance. You have to test. If you don't test with the right programs, okay, you're never going to see the difference in the frequency and the power. If you could drop the power and increase the frequency, that's the whole idea, is to drop the power down, increase the frequency. So if you can get the max frequency out of your processor and dropping the voltage down to where you're not overheating your processor, then guess what? Once you fine tune it like that, that processor is going to last you a long time. And it's going to make your motherboard last you a long time, because then now you don't have the VRMs screaming hot. Do keep that in mind. But anyway, I'm going to end it right here. There's many more videos that you'll see me talk about, VRMs and everything else. So, but if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you for all that you do, watching videos from beginning to end and helping support the channel. Now, I hope y'all like my new shirt. This is a test shirt. I went and got 16 of these shirts. So this way, when y'all see me do these videos, you're going to see me in a black shirt, because this is a test shirt. This is the shirt I'll probably want to put my logo on front, and I want to put something cool on the back. And then I'll show y'all when they get done. That's going to take a little while, because I got to decide what kind of logos I want to do. So, but I got more stuff in the works, so y'all make sure you stick around, stay tuned, and don't go anywhere. And we will see you on the next video.